Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Erica Reacts, where as a flight attendant, I react to different things on the internet. I've been doing a lot of reactions to Charlotte Dobre because I love her. She's one of my favorite YouTubers. I think she's just so beautiful and so full of grace. And there's a couple videos in my queue, as you can see from here, that I am dying to react to. But I told myself I wouldn't just fill my new YouTube channel with just Charlotte Dobre. I'm trying to do flight attendant reactions for you guys. So today I'm actually going to react to this one here by Aly Smalls. Surprise airline rule changes, what you need to know before you fly, plus new tips. It was done 9 days ago. So it's March 18th, 2025 right now. I don't know if you can see that in the corner of my computer here. I have not been notified of any new airline rule changes. So this should be interesting. Again, I'm not allowed to say which airline that I work for on social media because of my contract. Could get me fired. But I do work for a regional airline. So what I have to deal with is often different than like what mainline flights would have to deal with. They have longer flights. I have shorter flights, that kind of stuff. But today we're going to react to this one. We're going to see what it is she's saying is different. And I'll tell you if I agree or not.
Airlines have been busy lately. They're changing rules, tweaking policies, and adding new restrictions that could catch you off guard at the airport. And if you're not keeping up, you might get hit with a surprise, whether it's a last-minute baggage rule, a new boarding process, or even restrictions on the devices you can bring. Some of these changes are happening for safety reasons. Others are meant to make flying easier, at least according to the airlines. But whether they actually help is going to be another story. So today
Okay, guys, I'm going to kick this into high gear because I feel like she's talking a little bit slow for me, and I tend to watch everything at like double speed. Let's try 1.5 and see how she sounds.
I'm breaking down the latest airline rule changes, what's news, what you need to watch out for, as well.
So if you don't like that, just move your playback speed down to like 0.75, and that'll make it sound normal. It'll make me sound like I'm stoned, but it'll make the TV show sound normal. Otherwise, hopefully you can hear this and understand everything she's saying as well.
Sharing some update and new travel hacks and tips that I've started using that I think will help you stay ahead. Let's kick things off with a change that could affect a lot of us, especially if you travel with a portable power bank. Some airlines have recently announced that you cannot pack these in your carry-on, but don't worry, you can still bring them on board. They just have to remain with you at your...
Okay, that's not a recent announcement. That's been for like forever. You're not supposed to put any kind of batteries in your bag that goes checked into the cabin because of potential fire hazards. You're always supposed to take them into the plane with you. But let's keep listening.
See, Korean Air and Asiana now require passengers to keep their power banks in their personal items, so no tossing on any overhead bin. They need to stay with you at your seat. Eva Air, however, is taking things a step further, and they're banning the use and charging of power banks during the entire flight. And the reason why? It's because of a little thing called thermal runaway, which is basically a fancy way of saying they could overheat and catch fire. Airlines figure if you have them close by, you'll notice smoke or heat before things get out of hand. The takeaway here is make sure your devices are fully charged before your flight, and since most seats nowadays come with power outlets, you should be fine. If you fly with the Canadian airline WestJet, listen up, they're updating their carry-on size limits. Starting May 6th, their new maximum...
Okay, so real quick, again, nobody has told us. My regional airline is basically a child of one of the main lines, which means we fly under their banner, and they have not announced anything like that. If they had, then we would have immediately been told and we would stop people from charging, but that's not the case. Right now, so far, all I know is you're not supposed to leave batteries in your bag that get checked into the cargo part of the plane. You are supposed to bring, especially lithium batteries, into the plane with you, so that way if they do overheat, you catch it. They haven't told us you can't put it in the overhead. The thermal runway thing, that is something that we prepare for. That's one of the things that flight attendants have to learn to deal with. So they literally teach us how to put out fires on a plane. But anyway, like I said, I have not heard that rule. As a flight attendant, been a flight attendant for about 8 years now. But let's see what else she's got.
Foam size is going to be 22 by 14 by 9 inches or 56 by 36 by 22 centimeters. And those measurements include the handles and the base. Essentially here, they're shaving off an inch of width and adding an inch of height. I think this is good news. This means that more bags will now fit their requirements since this sizing is more in line with other major airlines. As a reminder, if you're wondering whether your current carry-on still works, I have a free carry-on database that lists bags that fit on over 70 airlines. And there's no email access required to get it. Just click the link below or scan the QR code. There's been a lot added to it since we first announced it, so go take a look if you need help finding a new carry-on. American Airlines is making a slight change to its boarding process. Starting May 1st.
Okay, so real quick, again, we haven't been told anything at our airline that there's any kind of bag changes. Generally, the standard 20-inch rollerboard is what we see on our planes, and since I'm regional, our overhead bins are smaller than mainline overhead bins. So if you do get a standard 20-inch one, you don't want to pack it too wide, like shove too much stuff in the front pocket, because that can just be a hassle. A real nice, easy way around this, though, is take an extra bag inside your bag, like a little backpack that you can pull out and then empty out that front part in, throw it in that extra bag and put both of those in the overhead bin or the smaller one under your seat. But that's, she said, was just specifically Canada Air, not my airline, not my circus. No idea. So far, that hasn't changed at my airline. which is, let me just say, it's one of the mainline airlines in the United States. That helps.
The airline will add an extra 5 minutes to the overall boarding time for all of its flights. But before you roll your eyes, there's actually a method to the madness. The goal is to space out boarding groups, cut down on congestion in the jet bridge, and reduce the number of passengers who have to gate check their carry-ons. In theory, this should make the whole process feel less like a free-for-all scramble. Will it work? That's to be determined, but at least now you know what's coming. Speaking of boarding, let's talk about a little trick that I use on every trip. I call it the third bag hack.
She's about to say what I just told you. As far as earlier boarding times, again, it hasn't been announced. What I do know is that my mainline airline that I'm connected to, they do close boarding 15 minutes earlier now instead of 10. And we at the regionals are also supposed to be doing that so that everything's consistent. We still technically aren't doing it, but that's because we have fewer passengers. And as long as we can get that door closed on time, that's what we're really concerned about. As far as I know, no gate agent is going to care about how many people are in a jet bridge because there's all kinds of crazy rules that mandate what gate agents do. So let's keep watching. Third bag hack. She's probably going to say what I just said.
Airlines only allow one carry-on and one personal item. But if you've seen me walking through airports in any of my videos, you may have noticed that I usually have a third bag. This is either a small sling bag or a mini backpack purse. This is because once I arrive at my destination, I still need a bag for all my essentials, like my wallet, my phone, lip balm, tissues, keys, all those small items that you want to carry with you. And I don't know about you, but personally, I like to have all of that stuff on me at all times. I feel kind of naked without it. I don't like having all those things sitting in a bag that's not attached to me. So here's the trick. When you go through security or TSA, you can technically bring as many bags as you want. You're not limited to just the 2 bags. It's the airlines that limit you, not security. This is also not me saying bring as much as possible. I'm just saying you can bring a third bag if you need to. But before boarding, I usually use the washroom one last time, and that's when I pack away my sling bag or crossbody bag into my personal item. And while a crossbody bag feels pretty harmless, the reason why you can't board with one, even though it doesn't take up any extra room, is because of safety issues. It can't be around your chest for taxi, takeoff, and landing, because in the unlikely event of an evacuation, if you're scrambling to get out quickly, the strap can easily get caught on something. Now, speaking of safety, because of recent events, I know a lot of you might have...
Okay, again, we have not been told that you can't wear crossbody bags. I mean, if you think about people with their children strapped to their chest, it's kind of the same concept. So they haven't actually told us that. I will say, if you do have a third bag, always shove it into one of your bags, simply because FAA regulations do not allow more than 2 carry-on bags for certain types of planes. My plane especially, we're not supposed to allow you to bring on more than 2 carry-on bags. And that's generally like 1 rollerboard and 1 under the seat bag. A lot of that has to do with weight and balance issues for safe takeoffs. And basically, there's a calculation in place for every single passenger to have a certain amount of weight in their bag with them. So this kind of helps keep that mandated as well. I cannot remember TSA ever stopping us for having more bags. So that might be the case. Flight attendants often carry 3 bags, sometimes even 4. I mean, some of them are nuts. Most flight attendants carry 3 bags, but we're also allowed larger bottles and stuff like that because we're security checked up the wazoo every single year. So we've proven ourselves. We've had background checks. We've had drug tests. We've had alcohol tests, all that stuff. That's why we're allowed that kind of stuff. Generally, passengers, not so much. So yeah, I have no problem with you taking a third bag, but as a flight attendant, you would definitely have to shove it into your second bag. And then, like I said, when you're in the aisle, I'm going to be like, hey, can you take that out of that bag, put it in the other bag, and then stick it under your seat? Just because we want to get out on time. So that's me. Not all flight attendants are like me, though. Anyway, let's see what else she's got.
Concerns about flying. So if flying makes you anxious or you just have some questions about what's going on behind the scenes, I recently came across an interesting new service. It's called Dial a Pilot. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You schedule a 15-minute call with a real US-based pilot to ask anything you want about flying. They'll explain turbulence, security, aircraft maintenance, whatever it is that's making you nervous. And if you're just not comfortable with flying right now, or maybe you're worried about some uncertainties for future travel, I also recommend looking into cancel for any reason travel insurance. Unlike standard travel insurance, which only covers cancellations for very specific reasons, like a family emergency, cancel for any reason insurance gives you a little more flexibility that could cover anything. Things like maybe your dog gets sick, or because the forecast of your destination is calling for a week of rain, or maybe you've just changed your mind. I know there are also some illnesses going on right now at certain all-inclusive resorts, so some people are wondering if they should cancel. Now, there are some restrictions, and you might not get the full cost of your trip reimbursed, so you still have to read up on all the details and choose the right plan for your needs. But it can definitely be worth it, especially for bigger, more expensive trips. So I put some links to travel insurance down below, or you can scan the QR code for more information. Let's talk about some things that you can bring to make your flight way more comfortable, and a few of these are new to me that I recently...
So real quick on that Dial a Pilot thing, I haven't heard of that, but I'll give you my spiel at the end of what I say about flying to passengers that are nervous. So if you're nervous about flying at all, just wait till the end and I'll tell you what I tell all first-time flyers.
We tried out, so I wanted to share them with you. I recently used this phone holder for watching movies on the plane, and honestly, it works out so much better than I thought it would. It clamps onto the tray table in front of you, whether it's folded up or down, and it rotates all the way around so you can position it however you want. But it also mounts on all kinds of surfaces, so when you're on your trip, you can even use it as a tripod, maybe to take group photos, or attach it to a desk or a table if you need to be on a video call. Flying with a well-designed personal item bag is so underrated. And on my last couple of flights, I took this tote bag by Nomad Lane, and it worked out as a great flight bag. It has so many strategically placed pockets that I didn't even need to use my usual tech pouches to keep everything together and organized. Plus, it's got a light-colored interior, so it's easy to see and find your things. Honestly, having a super organized bag really helps you feel less panicky, like when you're at the airport and you have to check like 37 times where your passport is. Another thing I like to do to stay organized on flights is to use a bag that hangs from the seat. So for example, this is actually a toiletry bag, but you can also use it to keep your in-flight essentials off the floor and within arm's reach. No need to bend down and grab things. For an extra legroom trick, if you're tall, you can try moving your personal item bag behind your knees once you're in the air. My husband Chris is 6'9", so he feels your pain.
The key being there once you're in the air. I don't mind if passengers do that once you're in the air, but just not for taxi takeoff and landing, if you know what I mean. Safety issue again.
But he swears by this. It frees up foot space without breaking any. A subscriber recently told me that they actually bring a portable gel seat cushion, and that makes the rock-hard airplane seats much more bearable. For a long flight, this honestly sounds like a great idea. Planes are dry, so hydration is key for inside and out. I love my sunscreen glow stick because it's SPF 50, and it doesn't require my hands to rub it in because, you know, airplanes can be super germy. I also like packing some electrolytes, and I just mix those with my water bottle, and I really do find that they help fight that post-flight exhaustion. But just remember, with all these items like the phone holder and the hanging bag, they all need to be stowed away for taxi, takeoff, and landing. But anytime in between, you're welcome to use them. Let's talk about flight delays and cancellations. If your flight is canceled or majorly delayed and you're facing an endless customer service lineup or extremely long wait times on hold, you can try heading to an airline lounge. The lounge agents can usually rebook flights much faster than the main ticket counter, or at the very least, the lineup won't be as long to get through to someone. And credit cards are a great way to get lounge access perks. So if you're in need of a new credit card, I've left a link to a summarized page of all the best travel credit cards. And yes, there's Canadian ones there too. I have a card that gets me into the Maple Leaf lounges for Air Canada. And if you want to try a trick to try and stay ahead of the game when it comes to flight delays, check out FlightAware. It's free. Just go to flightaware.com and you can enter your flight number and then you click "Where is my plane now?" That allows you to track its location in real time. So if your plane is halfway across the country, you'll know there's a delay coming before the airline even announces it. Flying isn't always smooth sailing, but hopefully these updates and tricks help make your next trip less stressful. And if you want to see an airport where we actually wish we had a longer layover, you should go watch this video next.
Okay, guys. So let's see a couple things. What was it? FlightAware. I think I use Flight Tracker. Might be FlightAware. I do use that to watch the planes, but for very different reasons. I'm usually bid for reserve, so I usually kick it at the airport. And I don't get to leave till the last plane is off the ground, so that's why I watch that. One of the best things you can do to track your flights is go to the airline website, and then you put in flight status, you put in your flight information, and it'll ask you if you want text message updates. If you say yes, you will be notified before we're notified about everything from gate changes to delays, takeoffs, stuff like that. And with Flight Tracker, which is one of the apps I've seen, and FlightAware, you can actually go in, see where the plane is coming from. You can actually see the flight number of what it's coming in from. You can put that in and you can get flight alerts on that as well, like when it's actually taken off or if it's pushed or anything like that. So that is an excellent tip. What else did she have? So for flight delays and cancellations, let's see, how do I say this? So I recently wrote a book called Flight Attendant Secrets. And in that I mentioned that there are 3 things that I would do if a flight is delayed. 1 is talk to the gate agent when you get off the plane. 2, you can go to customer service that's out the airport. They usually have incredibly long, crazy lines. And then the 3rd thing is you can go to the airline's website and you can change the flight yourself. So real quick, here is a glimpse of the website addresses for the mainline ones in the United States. If you find yourself landing and you've missed your next flight, go to these websites to change your flight yourself. You can bypass talking to a customer service agent. You won't have to wait for the gate agent that way because usually if the plane comes in late, there's going to be a long line and you can kind of just take care of it yourself. So that's what I would do. If you want to know more of my flight attendant secrets, check out my book. It's on Amazon now. I'll put the link in the description. Right now, it's also on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. Finally, what she was saying about nervous flyers. To wrap this video up, I'll tell you real quick what I say to nervous flyers. And that is basically that, have you ever been on a speedboat on a lake? And the faster the speedboat goes, the more it bounces like this. That's basically an airplane flying through the air. And usually the clouds, they're not fluffy, they're lumpy. They're big balls of water. So when a plane goes through it, it bounces on all of that water, which is where the turbulence comes from. Most turbulence. Sometimes there are pockets of invisible turbulence that the pilots can't see. It's like some kind of air bubble. And sometimes when you go into that, you might find the plane drops, but then like levels out and maintains. Because again, it's just a bubble. Also, the wind is a river of air, which I found out when I was in Albuquerque. I went to a hot air balloon fiesta one year, and if you ever get a chance, totally go. I think it's usually in October. At least it was the year that I went. And it's really cool to watch because all the hot air balloons, they kind of go up at the same time and you can see them go into the river of air and they all follow the exact same path, like 100 hot air balloons all following the same river of air. So basically, when your plane goes into a river of air, the wings make it rock back and forth like this, and the clouds make the plane bounce like this. You can kind of figure out what kind of turbulence you have based on how the plane is going. I know most people are pretty nervous about like, oh my gosh, we're going to die. The wings are going to fall off. That's not the case. Just in case you don't know, the wings are the most reinforced thing on the plane. It's incredibly rare for a plane's wings to snap off in an accident. I know they just had that accident in Toronto where the wings actually snapped off, and it had to have been a huge amount of pressure for that to happen. I've seen the accident footage, and that plane slammed down on the ground pretty hard before the wings snapped off. I mean, it slammed down on the ground hard enough to basically spark fire immediately, which that's a really, really hard landing. But most of the time, most accidents, the wings don't snap off. Like I've looked at a lot of accidents. And as far as I can tell, that's what I know. So you don't have to worry ever about the wings falling off in midair. They would have to strike something incredibly hard for that to happen. The other thing I tell people is there's a backup system for everything on an airplane. There's 2 pilots because that's a backup system. Each set of wheels is 2 wheels because that's a backup system. There's 2 air systems in an airplane, usually one in the front, one in the back. If one of them were to go out, then the pilots can still fly at around 25,000 feet in the air. With both air systems, they can fly as high as 40,000 feet. But if one were to go out, they would fly at 25,000 feet. And if both were to go out, they would fly at 10,000 feet because at 10,000 feet, they can let outside air in. If a decompression ever happens, the basic protocol is for the airplane to dive down to 10,000 feet where they can fly without either air system. And then at 10,000 feet, they will level out. So if you see those masks drop, get on your face fast, tighten that seatbelt as tight as you can because you're going to feel like a free fall. You're just going to go. I haven't done it myself, but I've had a classmate that happened to at an airline they were at before they came to my airline, and they told me about it. That's a story for another day. But those are my tips. Again, if you want more flight attendant tips, check out my book. Link will be in the description below. And if you want to see her video, I'll put a link to this video down below as well. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.